this video, I'm going to teach you a little bit more about the website custom audiences. So the thing that I really want to cover first with these website custom audiences is how they work. So once you have the pixel installed onto your website and it begins to collect data, you're going to be able to create custom audiences based off that data, and that data is going to update with the pixel. So the more information your pixel gets, the more information you're going to have in these custom audiences. For example, let's say today you have 100 website visitors on your pixel and you've captured them within a custom audience. Let's say within 5 days you get 100 more. So that custom audience is now going to have the people that have visited your website the first day, so those full 100 visitors, and then it's in 5 days time it's also going to capture those other 100 visitors that have visited your website. And that's going to update automatically. You don't have to go back in and change anything. You don't have to create a new custom audience. It's all refreshed automatically. So as the pixel begins to collect more data, so will this custom audience. So it's a good idea to name these exactly where you're pulling this data from. So that way, whenever you begin to create audiences and you leave them alone, you can always come back, check what's going on within this custom audience. So you can check the particular traffic for that source, either a page, your entire website, different pages that you want to exclude, and we'll get all into that here in a second. But it's a good idea to name your custom audience with exactly what's going on within that custom audience. And I'll go ahead and show you that now. So to create a website custom audience, the first thing you need to do is just select this blue Create Audience button, scroll down to Custom Audience, select Website Traffic, and this is going to bring you to the basic custom audience page. There's a few options that are hidden, and we'll get into those here in a second. But to name this, as I was talking about earlier, you would just select exactly what's going on within this custom audience. So this, for my naming convention that I like to use for this audience, I would just say all website visitors past 30 days. And then I just select create audience. Now, whenever it says in the past 30 days, that's exactly as it sounds. Since these audiences are constantly updating, the website custom audience that you have today is going to be different from the website custom audience that you have tomorrow. And that sounds a little weird, but essentially means, so for example, let's say that today you had one guy go to your website. So he landed within this website custom audience of all website visitors within the past 30 days. Let's say he never visits your website again. So 31 days later, he's going to be dropped off of that. He's going to be dropped out of this website custom audience because he didn't come back to refresh and be joined back into this custom audience. So let's go into some of the more advanced features. So you can create custom audiences from basically anywhere that you have the pixel located on your website. It's pretty fluid. You can create website custom audiences based on people who have visited specific web pages or the time that they've spent on their page, which is actually pretty cool. I know the New York Times did this, and they were able to capture they were able to capture the people that had visited some of their specific websites. They ran conversion campaigns to this custom audiences, and I think they had a 4 times return on ad spend just because they were able to target some of the people who are really engaged with some of their content. So as you can see, they're very, very powerful. Okay, but to create one, let's just, so there's the basic one. So why don't we go over a hypothetical? Let's say you wanted to capture some of the guys that had bounced from your landing page. Well, what you would do is there's actually 2 ways you can go about this. So you would have to, well, the first one is just basic URLs. So if you knew the URL of your web page, you would select the people who have visited specific web pages in the past 30 days or however long you wanted to capture the people that had bounced from your landing page. You would select the URL, and you wouldn't select contains because contains is going to grab all the URLs on your website that match whatever URL you use. Yeah, that matches whatever URL you use, and that could be other pages that we don't want other than your landing page. So it's best to use URL equals, so that way you can enter the exact URL from your landing page. And then you can either further refine this by, sorry, you can even, and then to go ahead and truly track the people that had landed on your landing page but hadn't completed, you would go ahead and select exclude. And then same thing. People that visit specific web pages, URL equals, and then you'd put the URL of your thank you page or wherever else your audience had completed that form. So that way you're now excluding the people that you don't want to retarget because they've already given you their information, they've already purchased, etc. And now you can truly track those guys that had bounced from your website. The other way is based off the standard events. So if you have all the standard events properly installed on your website, you would go ahead and select select from your events. You would select the event that occurred before one of your let me see. So you would select one of the standard event that occurred before somebody opted in on that thank you page. So you can put you could put either lead, view content, sometimes page view, depending on how you'd set it up. And then you would also use the exclude tool. So you would exclude, and then you'd go over here, and then you'd select purchasers or complete registration, depending on how you had your standard event set up. And that's another way to do it. So why don't I go ahead and talk a little bit more about this refine by tool. So whenever you select this refine by, you can select URL. So you can select the specific URL for the from the event that you want to track. So let's say you wanted to track all the people that have visited a few specific URLs. You could do that by using this. Also frequency. This one's pretty important because as people land on your web pages and as you have more engaging content, you're going to be able to track the guys that have gone to specific landing pages, specific pages rather frequently. So you'll be able to track who's really engaged with some of your content. You can even do this by device, and you can also do this by people that have spent a specific amount of time on your website. So it's all pretty useful. And then same thing, you can choose specific landing pages. These percentages mean percentiles, so people who are in the top 25 percentile of the guys that have spent time on your page. This means that out of 100 pages, or let's say let me see. Let's say out of 100 people. Okay, so for me to explain this, let's say that there's 100 people that have visited your website. If you choose the top 25 percentile, you're only choosing those 25 people that have visited your website. But these 25 people have spent the longest amount of time on your website. So they are probably the most engaged with your content, with your product, with your business. Just because they've spent more time on your website than anybody else within your audience. And so then that's how you would choose those, and then you could also include and exclude audiences. With this include tool, you're able to create multiple. You're able to put multiple custom audiences in there at once. So it looks like you can have up to, I think, 5 different sources for this custom audience. For 5 different sources from your website traffic for this custom audience at once. And so that's just a way to capture let me see, that's just a way to capture different different people from different sources on your website, all kind of at the same time. I don't honestly use this one too much, but it's pretty useful just to keep in your back let me see, just to keep in the back of your mind. Anyway, so that's website custom audiences. I'll go over some of the other ways you can create custom audiences. Let's say from engagement or people that have, let's say engagement or some of your customer files in a later video. Anyway, this is all that I wanted to touch over for website custom audiences.